Hi friends, it's me, Kate. I am here on my mat today. I'm gonna film a little bit. I have my new audio solution working again today, so hopefully this is an improved experience for you. You can get a little bit better audio um, and you can hear me a little bit better. I do have my window cracked today, so I can get some fresh air. You might be able to hear some birds, but hopefully not too many other sounds will come through. I was thinking today that we would do some standing hip openers. I do have Scooter with me here, so we'll see how he does as well. Um, I don't know that I necessarily think that you need any props other than blocks today. As always, those help us bring the floor a little bit closer to us, help us get into poses with better alignment for our own bodies, and support us in our practice and make us feel like we can do poses that sometimes might be a little challenging for us. So I always recommend using props whenever you can. So all that out of the way, we'll get started. As always, we're going to begin with seated meditation. For me, I like to sit up on 2 blocks on the medium height, stacked side by side so that I have 4 and 4, so 8 inches across and 6 inches tall. But if you want to sit up in a chair or just sit straight on the mat, crisscross applesauce, or lay down, whatever suits you suits me. So I'll take a couple moments to center ourselves, arriving on our mat. Take some big inhales and exhales. Allow the shoulders to drop down. And start by noticing how your breath is moving today. So is it full and deep? Is it shuddery and shallow? Allow the shoulders again to drop down, so check in with them, make sure they're not creeping up on you. Deep breaths all the way in, all the way out. And try to let go of any thoughts that might be swirling around in your brain. See if you can just set them aside for now. Of course, they will always be there for you when we're done with practice, if you find that you still need them. Just trying to be present in this moment, this place on your mat. And when you feel ready, you can feel your breath begin to deepen. Open the eyes if you happen to have closed them. And we'll inhale and reach up with both arms. Interlace the fingers, turn the palms face up. Oh, big stretch. Pull the low ribs in. Exhale. Dropping over to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale over to the left. Inhale through center. Exhale to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale through center. Wonderful. We'll roll through the shoulders. One way and then the other. Wonderful. And then we'll come onto our hands and knees and slowly transition up to downward facing dog. So I'm going to move my blocks out of the way. Moving from hands and knees, which you can do a couple cat extended cats here if you'd like, or tuck under the toes, shift back, and immediately work towards downward facing dog. So it's up to you. You can decide how you're feeling in your body today, what you might need, so that once we get here, we can take some big inhales and exhales again in this inverted position. So pressing down through one heel and then the other, and then coming to stillness. Keeping the low ribs coming in, finding extension through the shoulders, rolling the inside edges of your upper arms towards each other. All right, so from here, you can, if you'd like, move your left foot in towards the center a little bit, and then we're going to reach straight back with the right foot. So toes are still pointing directly down towards the floor, reaching back, finding length through the spine, all the way through the heel of the extended leg. And then from here, we're going to bend the knee and then open the hip, dropping your foot behind you as if you could touch your opposite shoulder with your foot, reaching behind your back. Trying to keep an even weight through each hand, so not allowing the shoulders to open up to the side. And then we'll inhale back to center and bring both feet down. Take a breath here all the way in, all the way out. And we'll do the other side. So this time, right foot creeps to center, reaching back with the left foot. Taking some big inhales and exhales, toes pointing directly down towards the floor. And then from here, bend the knee and then stack the hips. So reaching your foot behind you as if you could touch the opposite shoulder. And then straighten the leg back out. Come back to downward facing dog, or transition directly to child's pose just to alleviate some of the pressure that we just generated through the shoulders. Doing some weight bearing to get us started off. Big inhale here, big exhale. And then we'll bring the hands up, back to the top of the mat, finding lots of space between the fingers, pressing back from the feet, lifting up to downward facing dog. And then slowly walking the feet up in between the hands, taking your time. So we're coming into a soft forward fold, allowing your spine to drape over the thighs, bending the knees ever so slightly, or maybe bending the knees deeply, whatever you need in order to find connection between your chest and your thighs. And then from here, bend the knees, inhale, come all the way up, hands above the head, press together. And then exhale, semi-DT. Now we're going to take our front foot, being our right foot, reaching it back. Or whichever foot you want, we're going to do both. We're going to come into triangle pose. We have heel to heel alignment here. We're going to bring our hands to our hips, and we're going to work with tilting the pelvic girdle. So front hip reaches all the way to the back of the mat, and you can find a little band here in the front leg just to find some space. And as the hips tilt, so does the spine, but we're keeping this perpendicular line here. So hips are square this way, spine is square this way. And then once the hips stop moving, wherever that happens to be, you can release the top hand down, rotate the shoulders open, and then if you'd like, lift the opposite hand. Big breaths all the way in, all the way out. And then when you're ready, look down, inhale, come up, pivot the feet, or step up and step back with the opposite foot. And we're going to do the other side. So this time, same thing, working with tilting the hips. So we're going to reach the front hip straight back. You might hear some clicks or some pops, and that's okay as long as it's not followed by pain. Okay. So then when you feel like your hips don't have anywhere else to go, that's it. Found your range of motion. We're going to allow the top hand to release down. Rotate the shoulders open. Feel the low ribs coming in. And then lift up with the opposite hand if it's not too heavy. If it is really heavy and it causes your chest to sag down towards the floor, just leave your hand alongside the body. Big breaths all the way in, all the way out. And then look down, inhale, come up, and step up to the top of the mat. Then from here, we're going to step back with the right foot again and either pivot so you're over it or find whichever way you need to be. So then we're going to come into warrior two. So again, heel to heel alignment, back toes pointing towards the long edge, front toes pointing towards the short edge of your mat. Find lots of space in between the toes if you can. And now instead of tilting the hips, we're going to keep them straight up and down as if you could sit right down on a chair underneath you. So from here, you can still keep your hands on your hips if that helps you with your orientation. We're going to bend the front knee and allow both hips to move. They're simply gliding forwards and back with the motion of the knee at the front. So we'll bend, come down into warrior two, inhale, come up. Bend, coming into warrior two, inhaling, coming up. One more, bending into warrior two and staying here this time. So make sure that your front knee is coming out towards the outside edge of your mat so you can see your big toe on the inside edge of the knee. Then when you're ready, you can open the arms, reach them to either side of your short edges, and feel your chest parallel with your hips, which are roughly parallel to the long edge of the mat. Feel your shoulders sliding down the back. And then we'll inhale, come up, pivot the feet, and do the other side. So you might have to wiggle your toes a little bit to get the right alignment, heel to heel. Find lots of space in between your toes. And then same thing, hands to hips, We're trying to keep the hips parallel so they're not tilting. They're just as if you could sit right down onto a chair. So then from here, bending the front knee, inhaling and straightening, bending the front knee, inhaling and straightening. One more time, bending the front knee, and this time staying in the pose. So dropping the back hips straight down towards the floor, finding lots of openness, making sure you can see your big toe on the inside edge of the front foot. And then when you're ready, opening the arms, allowing your shoulders to drop down towards the floor, and gaze is soft over your index finger of the front hand. Big inhale, big exhale. And then when you're ready, you can heel toe, your back foot forwards, or just step up to the top of the mat. One more big inhale here. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, they're going to come up overhead. Exhale, we come all the way back down into our own lap. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands down, step back. We're just going to move directly to downward facing dog. You can do a vinyasa if you'd like, but we're trying to wind down a little bit here. So we're going to check in with our hips one more time. So this time, left foot might creep towards the middle of the mat. Right foot reaches straight back. Big inhale here. Big exhale. Then bend the knee, stack the hips, and allow the foot to reach towards your shoulder, the left shoulder behind you. Again, keeping both shoulders parallel to the mat. And then inhale, straighten, come back to parallel, and bring the foot back down onto the mat. And we'll do the other side. So this time, right foot creeps towards the middle of the mat, left foot reaches straight back, toes pointing directly down towards the floor. And then when you're ready, bend the left knee, stack the left hip on top of the right, reach the left foot towards the right shoulder behind you. Both shoulders parallel to the floor. And then straighten the leg, come back to parallel, and back to downward facing dog, just for a brief moment. And then release all the way down to child's pose. Taking a big breath here, all the way in, all the way out, all the way in, all the way out. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, come up to seated, roll through the shoulders, in one direction, then the other. And then we'll come on to our butts. Do one or two seated stretches. We'll just maybe do one. So we're going to sit in cobblers. Inhale, lift up through the chest. Exhale, come forward. So soles of the feet are touching, knees dropping out to the side. If you need to, you can either put a little bit of lift under the knees to support them. Or if you're like me, maybe you want to put a little pressure, but just only through your forearms as you're leaning forwards. So we're not prying the legs apart with the strength of the arms. Rather, they're just slowly opening as we're leaning into the pose. And then we'll inhale and come up. Bring the knees together if you can on their own. And scoot towards the long edge of your mat if you're not already there. And lay all the way down. Drawing the knees in, giving them a squeeze. You can put your hands on your knees and roll in one direction. And then the other. And then when you're ready, arms out to the sides, dropping the knees over to your left. Feeling the low ribs still coming in towards the spine. And then we'll inhale up through center and exhale over to the other side. Deep breaths. Using a block to support you if you need, either under both knees or under just your top. And then we'll inhale back to center, give both knees a squeeze, and come into Shavasana. So releasing into whatever version of Shavasana works for you today. If that means coming into traditional Shavasana, that's fine. If it means finding a modification with more props that suits you better, that's also just fine. Taking some big breaths all the way in, all the way out. Releasing the practice, releasing all that movement. Softening where you can soften. Letting go of tension where you can. Following the breath from moment to moment. Of course, you are always welcome to stay here as long as you wish. But if you'd like to end with me, you can slowly roll off to one side, taking your time, spending a moment here, feeling your blood pressure come back to normal, the expansion of the breath, and the support of the earth underneath you. And then when you feel ready, you can slowly work your way back up to seated. So I hope that this class was enjoyable for you. I know we moved quickly through a couple of our poses, but I'm just hoping to help you get back into alignment and back to your life. So as always, thank you very much for practicing with me, even with the sounds of summer if they came through. Take care. Namaste.